We'll begin, and I want to begin with a gentleman that is very dear to all of us, and he is an influencer, Mr. Influencer, Mr. Pete McKenzie. Would you come up, Pete? Say a word.
Thank you, Chuck. Chuck invited me to introduce Sam. So in the spirit of not taking up too much time, Sam and I have worked together for 26 or 7 years. And we've had a great friendship and a great brotherhood going on for all those years. The thing that really kept us together and linked us together is we both love me. Sam is, I'll just give you by way of introduction. As we were coming in, I was talking to David Nichols, and David is new to our Fullerton group, about 3 or 4 months, David, something like that. He said, the first time I walked in, I heard this voice, and it was singing. And he says, it wasn't just singing, it was worship. And the thing that we've all learned about Sam, the reason we love him so much is a lot of reasons. It's because Sam just ushers you right into the presence of God. Amen. And it's life-changing. Amen. And so, where is Sam? I'm here. You ready to roll? I'm ready to roll. All right, let's welcome Sam and Donna.
We do love you. I'm not sure how the sound is going to go in the back. When I was back there with food, it was, can you hear it okay?
Yeah, we're good.
So I got to test it a little bit and make sure. This is my friend Don. Don and I go back almost 50 years. We've been singing together. When peace like a river attended my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well with my soul. And though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, this blessed assurance control, that Christ hath regarded my helpless estate and has shed his own blood for my soul. Yes, it is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when my faith shall be sight, and the clouds be rolled away by night a scroll. The trumpet shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It's all right? Okay. I can't hear a thing. I don't know. Speakers are in front of us. I can hear Don. Unfortunately, I can hear him. We joke all the time. He's actually a couple of years older than I am. But because he has hair, everybody thinks he looks younger. Like we were at a nursing home and one lady said, "Oh, you brought your son." And he's never let me live that down. It cost me $10. She was blind. She was almost blind. Then she rubbed his hand and saw he didn't have a ring on at the time. He wasn't married. She goes, "Oh, are you single?" He goes, "Yeah." She said, "Well, so am I." Same lady, too.
I gotta check this
Some glad morning when the time is over, fly away to a land on the continental shore. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away, oh, Lord, I'll fly away. Now when I die, hallelujah, bye-bye. More weary days and then, oh Lord, I'll fly away. I'm going where the joy never ends. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, bye-bye. Lord, do remember me, hallelujah. Lord, do remember me. Lord, do remember me. Look away on through. I've got a home in glory land that I shine the sun. I've got a home in glory land that I shine the sun. I've got a home in glory land that I shine the sun. Look away on the blue. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine till Jesus comes. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I wandered so aimless, my life filled with sin. I would let my dear Savior in. Now I have traded the wrong for the right. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. I saw the light. No more darkness, no more night. I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. That wears you out. I used to could go on and go on and go on, but with this chemo, fatigue hits me, and so that kind of knocks me down. I delight in you, Father, for your faithfulness to me. Oh, I love you, my Savior. Your face is all I seek. Let my soul rejoice. Let my words be few. Lord, I lift up my voice. There's no God but you. You're the Lord of my days. You're the Lord of my nights. In you I delight. I delight. I delight in your mercy. Oh, your grace is oh so sweet. Lord, I long to know you. I long to know you more complete. Let my voice rejoice. Let my words be few. Lord, I lift up my voice. There is no God but you. You're the Lord of my days. You're the Lord of my nights. In you I delight. I delight. Oh, you saved my soul and set me free. You're all I need. Let my soul rejoice. Let my words be few. Lord, I lift up my voice. There is no God but you. You're the Lord of my days. You're the Lord of my nights. In you I delight. I delight. I delight in you, Father, for your faithfulness to me. Amen. You know, I've always been, ever since I was a little boy, I've always given it 110%. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. I came with grew up with a great work ethic. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Texas, and it was hard work, but it was good work. I mean, it was hard, but it was good. Hot though, 120 degrees in the summer. Baling hay was hard. I don't miss those days. I don't miss Texas. You know, recently, just to kind of give you a heads up for those that don't know this, 4 months ago today, I lost my bride. She was the love of my life, and she passed away in a sudden situation. She got sepsis, and I won't go into all the details, but it was quick, and we didn't think it was. We were on vacation, actually. Actually, we were in Texas. We were in Waco when it happened, and so it's been a hard struggle, even wanting to sing again. But my wife made a promise, you know, about 2 weeks before we went on vacation. We were sitting in our gazebo in the back of our house. I always take my guitar and I sing romantic songs. I mean, I tried to score with that girl for 40 years. So anyway, I'd sing her love songs in the gazebo, and then she said to me, she says, you have to promise me, and she'd already told me this 100 times, But she said, for whatever reason this night, she said, you have to promise me you'll let me die first. And of course I'm going, oh sure, okay, I have a lot to say about it. You know, I've had open heart surgeries and stents and carotid artery surgery, and so I thought, you know, I'm the first one, I'm a walking time bomb, so I thought it was going to be me, so I thought, okay, yeah honey, I'll let you go first. And then if I'm on my deathbed, I'll just shoot you right there, and it'll be, so I'll keep my promise. And then she said, and you have to promise me one more thing. I get a little teary-eyed. She said, you have to promise me that you'll die in the sanctuary. That you will serve God to the day you die. So I said, okay. Whew. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to keep that promise. It's hard. But it's doable. Where else would I go anyway? But serve God. I'm going to serve God until the day I die. And so she knew, though, you know, I've told this story before, so bear with me. She canceled her life insurance. She canceled it about 4 or 5 years ago. She canceled her life insurance. And I said, what? I came home and she told me that. And I said, what do you mean you canceled your life insurance? She said, well, I thought about it. And if you had extra money, you would sit around and cry and not do anything after that. But if you had to go to work, you would go back to work. So I don't want you to have any extra money. I want you to go back to work. My girl was really smart. Because she's absolutely right. I would have just been sobbing and sobbing and sobbing and staring at my belly button. Let's see. I'll show you. This is a song that I wrote. Part of my testimony is going to be about this morning. But this is a song that I wrote after I was working about 80 hours a week for a company. Maybe not 80, but a lot of hours. 15-hour days, and I was working 6 days a week. And so one day I come home, and my 5-year-old boy opens the door, and he looks at me and he goes, who are you? And I said, well, I'm your daddy. And he says, oh, didn't recognize you. And then he walks back in the kitchen. So I come in, and everybody's sitting at the kitchen table, and they're all kind of cold to me, and I don't know why they're so cold. And Colleen was standing up at the sink, you know, getting ready to make dinner. And I stood there and I said, so what's going on? And nobody said nothing. And they're just kind of chilly, you know. And so that's the first day I'd come home early. Every other day I'd come home late, you know. I came home early for dinner, and so she stopped. Finally she stopped and she said, Sam Parsons, you're going to die a rich, lonely old man with no wife or kids. But you just keep going. You're the golden boy at the company. You just keep going. And then she turned back and started cooking. And I said, well, what's that all about? What are you talking about? She says, you're gone in the morning before anybody wakes up. You don't come home until everybody's asleep. And by the weekend, you're a zombie. And nobody wants to be with you because you're ornery. She said, but you just keep going. Woo. Then it was cold at dinner. It was like sleeping with an ice cube at night. I mean, it was just, she was just really chilly. And so the next morning, as it is my habit, and it's been my habit for 34 years, I get up and read my Bible and do my devotions, and I pray, and I'm on my knees before God. But this one morning, then I run upstairs and get showered and take off. And this one morning, I just sit there. I couldn't do anything but weep because I adored my girl, and I didn't want to lose her, and I love my kids. So I was crying, and they came downstairs, and I've been gone normally, and they saw me there, and they go, what are you doing here? And I said, I can't go to work, I can't. And I'm just crying. They go, what's wrong? And then I said, Daddy's stuck in a squirrel cage, and I don't know how to get out. I don't know how to do anything but work. And I said, you guys need to pray. So all my kids gathered around me, and they prayed over me, and my wife prayed for me. I didn't go to work that day. I called in sick. I never called in sick. I called in sick. And then I went back to work and started back into the grind. And 2 weeks later, I got fired. Answer to the prayer. And at the time, I was scared to death because just like everybody else, I live, above my means, and so I was scared. So I went to my senior pastor at my church where I was leading worship. I was leading worship on the weekends, and I went to him and I talked to him about it, and he said, "What do you want to do?" Well, about 6 months earlier than that, I had a friend of mine that had called me. In fact, it was a girl that led me to Christ. And she called and she said, "Sam, I got a question for you." I said, "What?" She said, "If you had all the time and the money in the world, what would you do with yourself?" And I said, "That'll never happen. I got 4 kids to feed. I don't have that kind of time. There's no way I'm going to do it." She said, "What would you do?" I said, "I don't know. That's stupid. You'll never have that." She said, "Pretend you won the lotto." I said, "No, I don't even play the lotto." So I let it go. I just scoffed it off, And then after that, every morning I'd start in my devotions. I kept thinking, what would I do if I could do anything I wanted to do? And then I finally came up with an answer. So now, here it is 6 months later, I just got fired. I'm sitting in the study of my pastor's office, and he looked at me and seriously, I'm not joking a bit, he said these words to me: "Sam, if you had all the time and the money in the world, what would you do with yourself?" And I said, "That's funny, where did you come up with that?" He said, "Just pretend you won the lotto." And I'm thinking, this is really weird. He said, "Pretend you made, you got $50 million in lotto, and you took your trips and bought your boats and your houses and you did everything. What would make you get out of bed in the morning?" And I said, "Well, it's funny. I answered that question, but it'll never happen." He said, "Well, what's your answer?" I said, "I'd sing for people. I'd share my love of the Lord with people, and I'd sing for them." And he said, "Well, who would you sing for?" And I said, "I don't know who you sing for. Everybody's working." And he goes, "Not everybody's working." And I said, "Well," he said, "there's little kids in school. You could go sing for kids." Well, no offense, I barely like kids. And so, I take them a little while. I can take them, but I like my grandkids okay. And then after a while, I'm ready for them to go home. And so I said, "I'm not a kid singer." And he says, "Well, what about old people?" I said, "What about old people?" He said, "Retired people." I said, "Man, they're all Winnebagos playing golf and fishing and stuff and traveling." He goes, "No, not all of them. Some of them live in homes." I said, "Well, we all live in homes." He said, No, I'm talking about nursing homes." And I said, I don't know, I never thought of it." He said, "Well, there's one right down the block here." He said, "Why don't you go down and sing for him?" I said, "Well, what would I sing?" And he said, "Well, I don't think it matters. Just go down there." He said, "Carry your guitar, don't drive down there. Walk down there, and by the time you get there, God will tell you what to sing." So I walked down to this nursing home, and hallway was about 7 miles long. I walk in the front door, and I see this nurse, and she sees me carrying my guitar case, and she says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I came to sing for your people." And she starts laughing and going, "My people, okay." She said, "Well, my people are at the end of the hallway, the last room on your right." So I walk this long hallway, and I get down there, and I walk in, there's a bunch of ladies getting their nails done. And there's a girl doing their nails with her back to the door. And I walk in, and all the ladies are kind of pointing. And she turns around and she says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "I came to sing for your people." And she said, "Okay, sing." And she just turned around and started doing nails. So all of a sudden, I started thinking of old songs, songs. This is 27 years ago now. You sing with me. You don't know this song. This is a good old song. This is the first song I sang in a nursing home 27 years ago. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy with skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Don't take my sunshine away. You all know that, right? Then I thought about Home on the Range, and I thought about just a whole bunch of Let Me Call You Sweetheart. I thought about all these songs. Where I grew up on the ranch, we would sit on the porch every Friday night and we would sing. I'd play my guitar, my dad would play the bass, my grandpa would play the fiddle, and we'd just sing all these beautiful old songs. And so I didn't think about it, but as a boy, I was trained. I know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs. I was primarily raised by my grandmother and my grandfather because my dad and I didn't get along very well. And so old people were part of our life, part of my life. So I didn't look at old people as anything different than just normal people. I didn't think, oh, that poor old person. I didn't think like that. That was Hezzy, and that was Jency, and Tuffy, and Bill, and John, and all these people that I grew up with. Now I called them Mr. Mr. Tuffy, Mr. John, but I didn't, because that's the way it was in the South. You were just taught manners. But I was so comfortable around old people. Now I is one. Makes a difference. This is a song that I was alluding to earlier that I wrote. That I wrote after my boy said, "Who are you?" Grandpa was an old man when I was just a kid. And he believed in raising kids the way his daddy did. Treat them right and teach them right from wrong. And let them know they love and they belong. I remember hours spent out in the sun, working till the sun went down, till the work was done. We never needed anything more than what we had. Life was hard, but not so bad. Lord, I'd like to live like that today. I'd take all the cares of this whole world, throw them all away. Lord, I'd like to live like that today. Now the hours rush by me and the bills they pile high. My wife and kids don't know me, 'cause I'm just a passerby. Wish I could take us back to the life I once lived. Oh, Father God, make me more like you. Oh, Lord, I'd like to live like that today. I'd take all the cares of this whole world, throw them all away. Lord, I'd like to live like that today. Lord, I'd like to live like that today. So I want to pose that question to you. The question is, if you had all the time and the money in the world, what would you do with yourself? It's a powerful question. And, in Psalms 37:4, it says, delight yourself in the Lord and He'll give you the desires of your heart. But most of us have it backwards. We chase our desires. And it isn't that necessarily the desires are bad things. I wanted a wife, I wanted a house, I wanted a car, I wanted kids. Not necessarily that order, but I wanted all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you delight yourself in the Lord, He gives you this stuff. You don't have to fight for it. You just start to learn how to delight in the Lord. And everything that you and I have done in our lives has been creating an orchestration of our life. The things, like I told you, I was raised around old people. So for me to sing for old people is great. I feel comfortable with it. The old songs, I love the old songs. So I don't get tired of them. I never get bored with You Are My Sunshine. I still think it's a great song. And I've been singing all my life. And the Lord knew that I loved to sing. In fact, one day I had a conversation with the Lord. I said, Lord, I really like to preach. I really like to speak. I really like to write. I like all that stuff. I love to write songs. I love to sing. What is it you like that I do? What would bring you the greatest sense of pleasure? And the Lord said, I like how you sing. And I said, well, I'm not the best singer. And He goes, oh, I know that. But I like the way you sing. He said, you sing with your whole heart. I like that. Okay. Yeah, but I like to speak. Well, do you think it might open more opportunities for you to sing? Yeah, then do that. But I like to write. Do you think it may open some doors for you to sing? Yeah, then do that. And so, it's been orchestrated all my life. But you know, I'm not the only one in here. It's everyone in this room. Every one of you has had experiences, good and bad experiences, that have shaped your life. And it's made you who you are today. And you could say good or bad, but God can work all things together for good for those that love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. Right? I'm preaching to the choir. But I got to tell you, I meet more and more people, especially men. I love working with men. You know, I've got all the guys in here. Colleen used to call them her men, because she said it takes that many men to keep you straight, boy. But I like working with men, and so I'm more attuned to what it is with men. But I got to tell you, I meet more and more men that have never figured out what it is they would really do if they could. And it's because we keep putting these obstacles up. Well, for instance, how would a guy make a living? At 45 years old, when I started this thing, I'm almost 70 now. How would a guy make a living singing for old people? They don't have any money. How do you do a thing like that? And so that was my big thing. I thought, gosh, Lord, I'd have to sing 12 hours a day, and I don't think I could sing that much. You can't sing that much. And so how would a guy make a living? But you know, somehow, he did it. God did it. I'm driving a 2017 Camry outside that a guy bought me. Guy I'd never met before. Sent me a check for $25,000 and said, your old car's got too many miles. You need a new car. And I thought my old car was running pretty good. It had 347,000 miles, but it was running pretty good. So I thought, you know, we need a new bathroom. And Colleen drove me to the Toyota dealership, and she said, get your butt out of this car and go buy a car right now. Lightning's going to strike you right now if you don't get out of here. So I went and bought a car, and I'm driving that car. But it didn't cost me hardly anything, because God provided for that. We put 3 kids through college. Now, I had to do a lot of begging. I had to do a lot of shucking and jiving to get them through college, but we got them through college. And a few student loans, but not many. The kids went through college. How does a guy do that? How does a chubby old bald guy that plays guitar do that? But God did that. See, God orchestrated in your life, made you the way you are, and shaped you the way you are for the purposes He has in mind. And if we could ever just stop and say, you know, I'm just going to delight in the Lord and ask Him what I should do, He'll give me the desires of my heart. And when you do that, it happens. You know, I wasn't always a Christian. I was raised in a Christian home, but I was not, I didn't know Jesus. I knew a lot about Jesus. I knew all the Bible stories. I even won a white Bible one time for being able to name all the Bibles, you know, books of the Bible in order. Won a little present for that. Got baptized when I was 11, but I only went into water because all my friends were going in the water. It was hot anyway. So I thought, it's good. So I got dunked like everybody else, a very good Southern Baptist boy did in that time. But I didn't know Jesus. It wasn't until I was 34 that I met Jesus. And I thought I had it all figured out. I didn't have nothing figured out. And it wasn't until, it just is a fluke. Everything in my life seems like it's a fluke. It's just like accident, but it's not. It's all been orchestrated by God. You know, I married the girl that I married because God gave her to me. God gave me that girl. And it was great. It was a great, great relationship. Our relationship with God has gotten deeper and deeper and deeper since I lost Colleen. It's had to. It's had to. Because I was really disappointed that God didn't heal her and bring her home to me. And so I had to try to figure that out. I couldn't walk around ticked all the time. So I had to go to God with it. So when the Lord turned my head around, He brought me to a place that, I'm going to sing you a song, another one I wrote. The sun comes and time is no more. is made right in the world. But until then, Lord, I want to be safe in your arms. Until then, Lord, I will praise you with all of my heart. And until then, Lord, I will serve you with all of my strength. Until then, I'll declare your glory to all I see. Until then and forever, I'm totally yours. Totally yours. I'm totally yours. Now when the storm's raging and I'm overwhelmed, and when things don't go the way that I planned, and when I can't see your purposeful plan, I know one day, Lord, I'll understand. But until then, Lord, I will praise you with all of my heart. And until then, Lord, I will serve you with all of my strength. And until then, I'll declare your glory to all I see. Until then and forever, I'm totally yours. Totally yours. No more pain or sorrow, no more tears or dying, only peace forevermore. And all my fears surrendered here, as if in heaven, live forever, forever yours. Oh, no more pain or sorrow, no more tears or dying, only peace forevermore. All my fears surrendered here, as if in heaven, live forever, forever yours. But until then, Lord, I will praise you with all of my heart. And until then, Lord, I'll sing forever my soul. Until then, I'll declare your glory to all I see. Until then and forever, I'm totally yours. Until then and forever, I'm totally yours. As I've been praying about this, about today and what to say, there's, when you get to my age, there's a lot of things when you talk about testimony, giving your testimony, talking about the day that I met Jesus. That was a powerful day for me. Changed my life forever. I've never been sorry. I've never cooled down. I've never been out in the tall weeds. I've never backslidden. I've been on fire for Christ. Maybe it was because I was so screwed up, and I was a druggie. I was loaded most of the time for about 16 years, and then God just grabbed me and just turned me around. I was a workaholic, I told you that. God turned me around and made me, I guess I'm a workaholic now for the Lord. I serve the Lord. Amen. I have one little part of the testimony that it's going to look like I'm jumping around, but I think it's important. One of the things that I've noticed working with men over the last 25 to 30 years that we've been doing this thing together with Pete, most men have father wounds. Now, not all men, but most men have father wounds. And as fathers, we've caused some ourselves, father wounds. And I just want to give you this little bitty testimony about my father wound. My dad was a rageaholic. He came back from the war, kind of messed up a little bit from World War II. He was a lighthearted guy before that. And when he came back home, he was a little serious, and he didn't. He would never hit a woman. He'd never hit a girl, but he didn't have problems hitting a boy. And so my dad's idea of discipline is if I deserved, and I deserved most of the spankings I got, because I was just a little rebel. I was always in trouble. And I guess I'm still that way sometimes, but anyway, if I deserved 10 swats, my dad would give me 30. And he just believed until you were a wet blanket on the floor, you hadn't been disciplined enough. And so I hated my father. He hit me with barbed wire once. He didn't mean to, but he picked up a switch, but it was barbed wire. I didn't know it, and he swapped me on the back of my legs, and then he just walked away, just dropped it and walked away, never said anything. And went through a lot of things with my dad. And I just really hated him. And I was reading in Exodus. I was about 45 years old. I'd never heard I love you from my father. I was 45 years old. And I was reading in Exodus about honor thy father and mother. And I found the verse about honor thy father and mother, the 10 Commandments. And I said, how can I honor this guy? I hate him. And I just didn't like the guy. And actually, to be honest with you, he was actually a really nice guy. He was just a real good guy. He just didn't handle his rage very well, and he took it out on me. And anyway, I said, I can't honor this guy. I'm justified in hating his guts. And the Lord said to my heart that morning, your justification is never higher than my law. And I told you, you have to honor your father and mother. Whew. But I'm really justified. Your justification is never higher than my law. Honor your father. And I was trying to think, what can I honor him for? I don't like anything about this guy. Except one thing. One thing is my dad was a hard worker. I mean, if you wanted anything fixed, my dad would fix it. I don't care if it was baling wire and chewing gum, he'd fix it. He could lift anything, he could move anything. My dad was a hard working man. And so I thought, okay, and as the Lord said, just honor him on the one thing you can honor him and don't say anything bad about him anymore. So I just say, my dad was a hard worker. That's about it. I remember finally saying, the Lord said, I forgave you so much, why won't you forgive your father? And I said, I'm not willing. And the Lord finally said, I was willing to forgive you. And I thought, oh gosh. I said, okay, I'll be willing to be made willing. I'm willing you to make me willing, then I'll be okay. I was that far back. And then little by little, I don't know how to explain it, but when I started praying for my dad, and I started praying for my willingness, it took about 2 years of praying like that, till finally, I forgave him. I realized my dad didn't know the Lord. So he didn't have a standard to go by. He was raised just like I was in a Christian, supposedly Christian home, but he'd never surrendered his heart to Christ before. He'd never done that. So I started calling him up, and I'd call my mom up, and I'd call her, I'd get on the phone, my dad would go, hello, here's your mom. Okay. Hello, I love you, Dad, here's your mom. And I went, I love you, Dad. Silence. Here's Mother. And another phone call, and finally he just silence for a minute, and he goes, me too, here's Mom. I walked on cloud 9 for 2 weeks on me too. I love you too. And then finally one day I called him, and he talked to me. And I said, well, let me talk to Mom. He says, yeah, you talk to her next time. So little by little, I actually fell in love with my father. Weird. And I forgave him for everything. And I remember when I went up to visit, I went to visit for about 5 days, and I went to visit, and they lived in a little town, and they had a basement apartment. So I preached at my dad for 5 days about Jesus. He thought Billy Graham came to visit. And I did. I preached at him. Finally, Sunday came. I was going to fly back Sunday afternoon. And there's a little other caveat to that story that's interesting. My wife, we were saving money for a couch. This is how good my wife was. Saving money for a couch. I came home and she said, honey, you need to go see your dad. And I said, well, yeah, maybe someday. I'd forgiven him, but I wasn't really looking forward to seeing him. So she said, no, I bought you a ticket. You have to go home and see Dad. I've been praying about it, and I think you need to go see your dad. And I said, well, where'd you get the money? She said, we don't need a couch right now. We got an old couch. It's fine. I'll just put a blanket over it. And so I went home to visit and preached at him for 5 days. And finally, Sunday morning came, and I was going to church. And I come upstairs, and my dad is dressed up for church. And he hadn't been in a church in probably 25 or 30 years. And I said, what y'all doing? And he said, we're going to go to church with you. So he and Mom went with me to church. We went to this little Assembly of God church down the street from us, from where they lived. And they had a great altar call. It was wonderful. And I'm sitting there, and my big old Marine dad, I could hear him sniffling. And I'd never seen him cry like that. I looked over and he's crying. I said, Dad, you okay? He goes, no, I'm not. And I said, what's wrong? He said, I got to give my heart to Jesus. He's frozen. And I said, if I walk up there with you, would you go up the aisle with me? He goes, you do that? I said, yes, sir. All right, then. All right, if you'll walk up there with me, I'll go up there. I said, all right, let's go. We locked arms. Walked up the aisle. My dad and I fell in love with each other. My dad accepted Christ, got the real disease. Also, 4 weeks later, we found out he had cancer riddled to his body. He fought it for 1.5 years. But in that 1.5 years, I got the dad I'd always wanted. Had I not forgiven him, though, what would have happened? Now I know, that we look at it, if the Lord called him in the first place, somebody would have led him to Christ. But I wouldn't have had that pleasure. We wouldn't have had that camaraderie together that me and my father had. Forgiveness was powerful. I remember I called him one day and I said, how are you doing with this dying thing? He said, I'm in a powerful position right now. He said, if I live, it'll be a miracle. And if I die, I go to heaven. He said, you beware, a man's got nothing to lose, son. I'm a dangerous individual. And then I remember he called me on Father's Day. This is the year he died. He called me on Father's Day, and I'd already forgiven him. We were close. We talked on the phone 2 or 3 times a week, and we had a really good relationship. And it was wonderful. And he called me and he said, I called to wish you happy Father's Day. I said, well, I'm supposed to call you. He said, well, it didn't hurt this one time. And I said, all right. So we talked and talked. And finally he said, well, I got one more thing to say. I said, what? He said, I need to ask for your forgiveness. I said, okay, what'd you do? He said, no, I haven't done anything. I just need to ask your forgiveness. I said, Dad, I already forgave you for everything. He says, oh, I know. But he said, I hit you too hard and I hit you too often. And I'm sorry. Wow. It was like little hairline cracks in my heart healed up. I didn't even know I had those cracks. I thought I'd forgiven him for everything. And I did. But it was like this magical thing that happened to myself. And I saw the power of forgiveness. So I don't know what father wounds you have. And it doesn't say, listen what it doesn't say about honor your father and mother. It doesn't say honor your father and mother only while they're living. Honor your father and mother only if they're nice to you. Nope, doesn't say that either. Now, I tell you the truth, I didn't put myself in harm's way with my dad. Like he came out to visit one time, right after we'd all gone through the forgiveness thing, and I was going down to Home Depot, and I said, Dad, you want to go down to Home Depot? And he goes, no. I was kind of disappointed because I was kind of hoping to hang out with my dad. And he said, no, I'm going to stay here at home. But I'd forgiven him for everything. And so I had no expectation from him. And so I said, all right, I'll be right back. I go out to get in the car, and he comes out with his baseball cap, and he goes, well, I'll ride down there with you. Now, had I pushed it, it would have been a bad scene. But because I let it go and thought, you know what, I'm just going to love him anyway. And he died. By the way, this is a My dad's dying words were, "I love you, Jesus." He was dying, and my mom, I wasn't there. My mom said blood came out of his mouth. He said 3 times, "I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus." And then blood started coming out of his mouth, and he screamed, "I love you, Jesus." He died. Whew. What a great way to go. I'm kind of hoping that's the way I go. I hope I die singing. I'm going to fall backwards so I don't hurt the guitar. But I hope I die singing, because I think it's a good thing to do. I don't know if that's what y'all were expecting today. I mean, I'm sorry to get all teary-eyed. I'm kind of emotional anyway. But I'll tell you a couple of things that have happened when you face death like I'm facing right now. Right now, if the chemo works, and there's a big if the chemo works, it's about a 50% chance it'll work. If the chemo works, then I'll get maybe 1 more year. If it doesn't work, I've got 3 to 6 months. And so the good news, I get to go be with Colleen. But it could be that God heals me too, because we know a healing, miraculous God. Amen. And a lot of people are praying for me. I got to tell you, I feel the prayers, like Aaron and her, I feel the prayers of people holding me up. I feel like I'm just carried on prayer. My strength has just been unbelievable considering what I'm going through. And the Lord has just strengthened me. I get a little tired. I'm ready for a nap. But if that happens, then God's got a better plan than mine. You know, I said to my men, our men one morning, I said, you know, I wouldn't want this pain of losing your wife. I wouldn't want this, and I wouldn't wish this on any of my men. It's my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish it on. But in saying that, then I'm saying I wish your wife would have it. See? And I don't wish that either. So we have to trust God, that God knows who's best and what's best. We have to trust God, because it's the worst pain I've ever felt. And you know what? I'd have taken a bullet for my girl. I wouldn't want her to go through this. And I wouldn't want her to worry about me and fighting cancer. I wouldn't want her to be worried. So God knew in His wisdom the right thing that happened. And I praise God for that. I really do. I praise God for that. And I didn't think I'd ever say that I praise God that He took Colleen. But I do. I praise God that God took her. I want her back. I'd give anything to have her back. She ain't coming back. And that's a hard reality to face every day. My mornings are hard, waking up and she's not there. It's tough. I'm going to close with this song, and then I'm going to run out the door. I'd like to visit with everybody. I do have some CDs and stuff back in the back. My friend Don's going to take care of that for anybody who wants a CD. It's on an honor system. They're $10 a piece. I think I brought 4 or 5 CDs. I have a new one that's coming out. It'll be out in a couple of weeks. And so this is a song. This is the title song from that new album. But don't think I'm being rude. I have to be down to chemo. And if I get there late, they won't let me have it. And I gotta have it. I hate having it. I hate chemo. It sucks, by the way. It really does. Anyway, here's the song. Now when all my days are gone and I leave this world behind, I hope that you will say we had a pleasant time, for we laughed and talked a while, we shared a dream or two, and I'm a better man 'cause I spent time with you. When you remember me, when all is said and done, I hope you will believe the best is yet to come. Now when I see his face, oh, I'll be sure to mention you. But I'm sure in all His grace, He'll be thinking of you too. come. Now I consider this present suffering nothing to be compared with the best that's still yet to come. Now when all my days are gone and I leave this world behind,